Yes, I am ready. Let's do
Let's
this.
do it.
Let's do this. I didn't forget my headphones this time. I'm wearing
Nice.
it.
I
while
hear
I'm
you
wearing
loud
it.
and clear.
Or have this like sneeze that won't happen right now. And
It's gonna like halfway through the episode. It's
oh
gonna
god, it's awful.
just let it out, man. Just let it out. Let's
I'm gonna
do this.
sneeze and start crying. That's how badly I want to.
Oh my god. Welcome back, everybody, to Critic and the Common Man, episode 4.
I love that. That's how we're starting. All right, let's do it. Jump right in.
Episode 4. We are in this thing. Oh my god, it's crazy. 4 episodes in.
Yeah.
I want to thank all of our 4 viewers so far.
Yeah.
It's been a wild ride. We're
Yeah.
really appreciating it.
Thanks, Mom.
As you can see, our setups are changing just a little bit. I got something a little more comfortable. Chris, I don't want you to see this and think of it as like a status thing or some sort of...
I mean, my chair is pretty nice. It is faux leather. I didn't want to, take away from your LED lights, but I can swivel
Right.
now. So,
You do. You are now swivel capable. I want you to think of this chair not as any sort of status thing. I merely want you to think of it as
I'm better than you.
a throne, a royal
Right.
throne upon which sits a king.
Right,
Is that
yeah,
too much to
yeah,
ask?
Yeah, nothing, too far out there, outlandish.
No, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
no.
I don't think so. 3 awesome movies today
Yes.
for episode 4. We are going to be, in honor of what's going on in the world today, we decided we want to celebrate some of our favorite black actors and actresses in their leading and supporting roles in these films for today. So we had a lot of fun this week watching these movies. Up today, number 1, Gemini Man, Will Smith. That is the big movie right now. It is on Amazon Prime. All of these movies today, quick note, can be found on Amazon Prime. There wasn't as good of a spread as we wanted between Netflix
Yeah.
and Disney Plus, so today is
But
an
we did that on
Amazon heavy.
purpose. We tried to have like a good spread of films throughout the major platforms. But for this week, we really wanted to celebrate, Black achievement in film. And so, I think it was just important that we find the right films, and not necessarily the ones that were easiest to, and we kind of did a range. We wanted something that was new and something that was, older. And like always, we kind of picked them for each other. So we didn't really pick them for any particular reason. It's more of like, these are the ones that kind of fell into our laps. So we're not saying these are the greatest films ever made.
They were really good, man.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into it. But
Yeah,
for the 3 films today,
I'm sure we're going to
doing
agree on this. I think we're going to have the same.
Yeah.
But,
we did Gemini Man, which, as you know, is Will Smith. Will Smith's, rather.
Yeah.
We did John Q,
With
which
Denzel Washington.
a surprising amount of people have not seen that movie.
Yeah,
when I was
I
talking to
actually
people
hadn't
at
even
work
heard
and
of it.
whatnot. Oh my God, I love that movie. John Q, which is Denzel Washington, in my opinion, the best Denzel Washington movie out there. But we will get to that. And for the 3rd movie, and one of my new favorites, I have not seen this one yet, Hidden Figures.
Yes.
If you have not seen Hidden Figures, it is a phenomenally
Yes, it is.
good
That
movie.
was very
Really
good.
interesting movie. Really interesting movie. But we're going to start out with Gemini Man today. And as always, you guys are probably getting in the groove of this now. But
Spoilers.
this podcast does contain spoilers. Yep, that's it. For Gemini Man, for John Q, for Hidden Figures. If you haven't seen the movie, please click off of this. Go check them out. Come back. Let us know what you think. But let's jump right into it, man. Let's start with Gemini Man. This was
Yeah.
an interesting one. Gemini Man is available on Amazon Prime.
It's funny, I just realized all of my notes are on my phone, which is right there. So this is all going to
your
be right here
camera.
now. So I
from the noggin.
yeah. So that's fine. I can do this. If you see a cold sweat
got
developing,
this.
it's fine.
Gemini Man was a very very bold move, a very bold attempt to make a movie that relies so heavily on one of the characters being completely CGI'd. Gotta be honest, I was hoping for a little more out of this one. Can pretty much tell you I didn't
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little bit of a stretch.
From what I understand, they brought in Will Smith's son to kind of be how they morphed the two faces together.
Really?
I'm not
They brought
100%
in,
sure.
Jaden?
Yeah, they brought Jaden in, and then basically they used his facial structure and I guess his skin probably to kind of like meld Will Smith's face and his together. Which is, I don't know if you noticed, like right away the first time you see him actually speaking, the younger version of Will Smith, there was something weird going on in like this area that like I just
Yeah.
couldn't kind of like I don't know, the same with like all films that have made actors look younger. There's just something slightly off that we like as humans we're just attuned to it and we're not quite sure what it is.
You
There's
can
something
totally pick it up.
Yeah.
You can totally pick it up. With all these CGI movies, you can totally pick it up. We are right on the cusp of having CGI that's so good that you cannot tell it's CGI, but we're not there
Not
yet.
there, no, not quite yet.
We're not there. So that was kind of the immediate note that jumped out at me about Gemini Man, just because you have to talk about the fact that obviously Will Smith is playing or I don't even know if you can say playing voicing or fusing voice with a younger version of himself in this movie. The problem with that is Will Smith, for most of us, you and I especially, most millennials, I guess all millennials really, almost all millennials except for maybe the youngest ones, have pretty much grown up seeing Will Smith in a wide range of things, from The Fresh Prince to all the different movies that he's done. We've seen Will Smith from the time he was young until, the age that he is now. Not that he's not, young enough, but until the age that he is now, which,
I mean,
how old is
he's
Will
middle-aged
Smith,
now.
by the way? Yeah, I don't know exactly how old he is, but my point being, we know what young Will Smith looks like.
Yes.
Everybody is very aware of what young Will Smith looks like. And that did not look like young Will Smith.
No, his jaw seemed like shorter.
He had a bigger head.
Yeah.
Like he had a
Yeah.
pit bull head on him, man. They made his head way bigger than it actually is. I don't know. Like maybe they were just trying to make him more of like a soldier, like a more muscular look.
Yeah.
But we all know very well what Will Smith looked like when he was younger. And so it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's like, okay, we need an actor who's a big enough name to where people are going to be interested in the idea of seeing them play a younger version of themselves. Mm-hmm. So who better than Will Smith in that regard? Because everyone loves Will Smith. Everyone knows Will Smith.
Fantastic.
You'd
actor.
love to see him playing. Oh my gosh, incredible actor. You'd love to see Will Smith playing a younger version of himself, but the other edge of that sword is that we know very well what he looked like as a young man, and that was not it. If you look at like a Fresh Prince, my gosh, that's a tongue twister, a Fresh Prince Will Smith, and then you watch Gemini Man, you immediately pick up on something that's off. And the CGI, like we just said, is already not at a point where they're capable of doing this flawlessly. So to me, it stuck out immediately as kind of a flaw that this is not the real young Will Smith.
No, yeah, and even there's something subtle about the movements when you see them on the motorcycle and stuff, where it just felt, I don't know if it was too fast, or
It was too fast.
Is that what it was? It
was too fast. Definitely.
It wasn't quite humanly possible the way he was moving, and it was just a little weird.
Yeah.
I guess let's talk about the actual movie and like
Not
we're
his
just like
CGI'd face.
CGI sucks. I mean, good for them for attempting it. They're the only way they're going to get better is to continue trying. So I give them props for that. But yeah, I feel like even though this movie is newer, there's other movies that have done it better. So
Like what? Do you have any in mind? Like you mean just CGI better in general,
No,
or like
well,
doubling a person?
But I don't know. I feel like Star Wars Rogue One did a really good job of making.
She was convincing.
Well, no, Admiral Tarkin.
Oh yeah.
If-
Tarkin was very convincing too, and Leia. I thought Tarkin and Leia were pretty good.
Yeah. Luke's
Tarkin
face did
more
look a little
so-
weird in the
Yeah,
last
it
movie.
did.
But
It did.
But you had the young version of Carrie Fisher was. I think they had the right angle, to like take her face and like crop it. Like I think it just looked better. Whereas like Luke's looked like they had to like Photoshop some of it in, and, technical terms. But yeah, I feel like Admiral Tarkin in Rogue One. If nobody had told me he was CGI, I would never have known. Now,
I think it's a
looking at
lighting
it,
thing.
I can see it now.
It's a lighting thing.
And again, it's always in
Yeah.
the mouth, but
It is.
so yeah, Gemini Man. Just from a movie point of view, I feel like the whole movie has kind of been done already with the Bourne Supremacy, and it's basically the same story. It's a spy who wants to not be a spy, and now this show's about the same thing. This spy who wants to get out of the life and is now being hunted by the people he used to serve, and like how is he going to get out of this? And you know, it wasn't anything new to me, and so I
No.
wasn't super impressed with the actual story. Um, Writing wise, there were some cheesy lines here and there, but you know, overall, I was entertained. I didn't want to shut it off. I didn't want to turn the movie off because I wanted to see where this was possibly going to go. I was like, okay, like what convoluted story are you prepping me for? And at the end, I was a little surprised that it wasn't just one clone. Spoilers.
Yeah, with like the G.I. Joe
Yeah.
Will Smith that comes running in. Like, I don't know, that just reminded me of something straight out of that movie.
I think it would have been cool to see multiple clones of his and then end it on like a cliffhanger. Not saying that there needed to be another one of these, but just end it on a cliffhanger where like, you know, like now they have to stop, you know, the whole army of Will Smiths. And then, you know, like that way there's kind of like a little bit of like, okay, like there's a little larger story here.
Gemini Man 2. There's
Literally
a
the symbol of
fourth
Gemini.
Will Smith. Yeah, it's just 3 Will Smiths on the
Yeah.
cover. Oh my god.
One of them's a toddler.
They agreed. The story's been played out. It felt like it's been done before. It was pretty dull. It was dull for a movie that had an interesting idea,
Yeah.
an interesting plot that's clearly been tried before. But I think they broke the Will Smith code. Will Smith has a tried and true successful movie strategy, man. You take Will Smith, you make him the too cool, kind of a little bit funny guy with a really good partner,
Yeah.
and then you can pretty much do whatever you want with him.
Mm-hmm.
And they missed the mark on every point of that. You look at all these Will Smith movies in the past. Men in Black fits that mold.
Oh yeah.
I Am Legend. Say what you want, but that dog was a more convincing character than the clone of Will Smith in Gemini Man. You know, like Will Smith being kind of cool, kind of funny with a cool partner, and then a good love interest at the end. Missed the mark on that too. Did not think the chemistry between him and
No.
the female lead in this movie was there.
No.
Didn't feel it.
Yeah, I agree.
But they pulled away from that. They tried to make Will Smith James Bond. They tried to make him basically on his own, not really that like cool, just kind of more like I'm supposed to just be this super played out character that we all know, where I'm not really going to talk about my backstory, but I've got this shady backstory filled with all these accomplishments that earn me respect amongst these, you know, dark people. Like I've killed all these people, but then you don't really see that side
And
of me in the
that-
movie.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to, he has a mold. And if you, even I Am Legend, Charlize Theron, was it? His female counterpart, and then
I
Jason
believe
Bateman?
So I have a laptop.
I think
here,
it was
can look
her.
it up.
It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that movie, but so bear with me if that's not the
Yeah,
right
yeah, it's
actress.
been a while,
But
so- I read the book,
but-
by the way. It's a short
Yeah,
story.
really?
Yeah.
oh, I never
It's
did.
like 70 pages.
Isn't it like a
Completely
graphic
different.
novel or no?
No, it's
I
a short
gotcha.
story that's part of like a larger, like I think it's 2 books in one, and it's like the first book or the second book is called I Am Legend, but completely different, way different.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a mold for Will Smith. I, Robot, same thing.
Fantastic
Cool
movie.
partner in The Robot and a good female lead as well. Will Smith is too good of an actor to take on a movie with that dull of a script,
Yeah.
with that dull of a plot.
And like an overplayed, so it's not just an agent, you know, like the spy, the assassin, you know, that wants to be out, you know, he wants more for his life, but it's also just like the same trope for like a soldier. Like there's like Hollywood movies don't know how to make a convincing soldier unless he's like haunted by PTSD, and
Every single one of them.
every single
yeah,
one.
It's
Like,
the
and
same
I'm
character.
not trying to say that that's not a thing, because absolutely it is. You know, suicide rates for soldiers and stuff, but you can be more than just a soldier with PTSD, and I feel like certain, like Captain America even did a better job of portraying that.
Yeah.
You know, like of being somebody who
Yeah.
could get past that, as opposed to, you know, like I'm haunted by my ghosts. You know, it just felt a little two-dimensional with the character.
Will Smith, I don't think, is the right actor for, and this is a bold statement because Will Smith is pretty much the right actor for damn near everything. He's a phenomenal actor, but to me, he's not the right actor for the solo spy movie.
No,
He's not
it's a bit
Idris
weird.
Elba. He's not Daniel Craig. He's not the like kind of mysterious, quiet, super good looking, like womanizer kind of
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
just he's not that, man. He's too funny and he has too much charisma
Yeah.
for us to be convinced that he is that
The
person.
only way that I could see, and bear with me here, okay, I'm going to walk you through a movie premise. the only way I could see Will Smith working for a movie where he plays a spy is if, and you might lose me here, I might lose you is what I should say, if he was working with like, let's say like Tom Holland, right? Like an animated feature where he gets turned into a pigeon.
And he turns into a bird.
I think I'm onto something.
Dude. I think we got something here. If you want to go into the director business,
Hollywood.
I would, yeah.
And maybe they have to like be in disguise, like spies.
Hey, but quick nod to that movie too. Again, he fit the mold.
He did.
Good partner.
Yeah.
Funny. He's not, he's cool, but he's funny. In this movie, they took that humor away from him. They wasted his charisma that he just has, that he embodies,
true, yeah.
that he's built. He's cut his teeth on that role, and he does so well. I mean, you look at all of these Will Smith roles in his most successful movies, he fits that mold.
Yeah.
And I think they went away from that mold with this. They tried to make him just the solo, super cool spy, but he wasn't really funny.
It's funny because
and then you
comparing him to iRobot, the characters are very similar, and there's something that iRobot did that this one did not, and because like his character isn't super funny in iRobot, but he has.
There's more dialogue. The dialogue is better. The conversation between him and the robot is stimulating. It's interesting. The conversation between him and the doctor that was murdered, or a scientist rather, is interesting. The conversation between him and the female lead, who I cannot remember for the life of me who that is, but him and the female lead in that movie is very interesting. And they do a better job of showing you his shady past, so that kind of clears up the mystique of him in that role of that character. Yeah. But there's just better dialogue, and his character shines through as being somebody who's still kind of funny. You know what I mean? And he's cool. He's wearing Converse, and he's driving an old motorcycle that still runs on gas, and he's just a badass. And in this one, it was like we said, it's just played out. He's a soldier with
writing. I don't think it was necessarily.
I'm sure.
Because like there's this one part, and I just couldn't get past it. I actually had to pause the movie because I wanted to like punch the screen. There's this part at the end of the movie when like they're on the airplane and she's telling him like you need to get some sleep, and he says something along the lines of like he's just brooding in the seat, and he's like, no, that's where my ghosts are, something like that. And I'm like, okay, I get it, you're a haunted soldier, but again, this is another classic thing where the writing tells us something as opposed to showing us. We don't need him to tell us that he's haunted by the ghost. Show us him trying to stay awake and nodding off, but waking up in a sweat or something, and then like trying to like get himself back into the like I can't fall asleep. Like show us that. Don't tell us that he's haunted, and then just cut to another scene. Like it's such a lazy writing.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I thought the relationship with him and the female lead in that movie was unconvincing. Mm-hmm. I didn't think the chemistry was there. Also, did it seem weird to you? Did the perceived age difference between Will Smith and that woman seem weird to you? Like it was like awkwardly a big gap?
It honestly no, but I think that's probably because I still see Will Smith as this like 30-year-old like heartthrob, even though he's like I think he's at least he's over 50 I think now. I think he just celebrated 50 years old with Yes Theory on YouTube, and he jumped out of a helicopter with them.
Damn. Yeah, I still see him as the poster of him that I have on my ceiling right above my bed, you know what I mean? Like that's still the Will Smith that I know and love. Nipples? You know the one. Yeah, you know the one. I photoshopped his head on your body.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, inspiration. Yeah, I still see him as that, but I had some notes on this one. The CGI, not to harp on it too much more, but the CGI was, it's actually interesting. Because it's the biggest part of this movie, and it's without that aspect of this movie, without the CGI, this is just another completely overdone story.
Yes.
So the CGI Will Smith is the only thing bringing people to the theaters for this one. And I must say, if you watch it back, there's some scenes, and I guess it just depends on the lighting, but there's some scenes where the CGI was actually pretty phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Now, again, not phenomenal in the sense that it actually looked like young Will Smith, because I still never thought it did.
But it didn't look
if you
like
put
CGI.
A picture of exactly, it didn't look like CGI. If you're willing to accept that this is whatever this guy looked like when he was younger, if you're willing to accept that and just bear with me there were some scenes where the CGI was phenomenal.
Yeah. And you know what it is? It's different artists. You couldn't possibly have the same person working on every single scene. It would take years. So you have groups. So you have this person who's assigned to scene 1 and scene 15 and scene 16, and this lighting artist is working on that scene and this lighting artist is working on that scene. I mean, that's how it was when I was studying 3D.
I'll tell you what, man. In that case, the man or woman that animated or CGI'd him while he was like in the cave was phenomenal. But the man or woman artist who CGI'd him at the end when they were on that college campus, you're out. Yeah. That's it. You gave it a shot. It did not work out. Like, I could not get past it, man. It was just
blatant. You gave it a shot. Sorry, Bill. All right.
Sorry, Bill. Yeah. See ya. Sorry, Jennifer from CGI. You're out.
Yeah. I thought there was an interesting little bit of symbolism in the use of water and reflections throughout the entire film, where like it's even his biggest fear. And I'm not really sure what that is there. I didn't like the movie enough to even delve into what it could mean on like a film analysis level. I just don't care enough. But I feel like the director was trying. And who was the director? Was Ang Lee, wasn't it?
I'd have to look it up.
I think it was Ang Lee, which is super surprising to me, because if it is, I would have expected it to be better. Yeah, there were some really good shots. I really like the shot where where we see the couple on the boat on the yacht get murdered and they kind of fall into the water. I thought that shot was epic, where like you just see their bodies in the water and they're just floating in there. The catacomb scene, I think, was the best out of I think that was the best part of the entire film, was watching them to
Agreed.
Have that conversation in there. Yeah, it is Ang Lee. Wait, all I did was look up Ang Lee. I didn't actually look up if he did Gemini Man. This is
just a picture of Ang Lee's face on Google. You're like, yep, this is Ang Lee.
Yes. Yeah, that's him. So, yeah, I feel like I would have expected the movie to be a little better.
It begs the question to me, Chris, and this is kind of a loaded question, but like, is Hollywood, are we running out of... What'd you say?
Ang Lee, he was the director of Life of Pi, which I believe was an Academy Award-winning movie.
That was a phenomenal movie. Another movie that was heavily dependent on CGI, but a very good movie because it was unique. But it begs the question, is Hollywood... Are we looking at the end of good original content, at least for a while? I mean, it just kind of seems like we're seeing the same movies and hit the theaters over and over again.
That is a loaded question, especially from like a film history point of view, because, and I'm sure there's people who have talked about this in articles and research papers of their own, but. If and when I ever actually work on my master's, I think that will be what I work on, because I 100% believe that right now we are in the middle of another kind of decline in cinema as far as like originality, and it happened in the 50s, 60s, around that time period. People were just afraid of communism, and they were afraid of the others and anybody that wasn't right. American, and everybody needed to be a patriot. So the amount of movies that came out at the time was literally, that's why Westerns were such a big thing, is because it was all about, America and about being the cowboy and fighting oppression and, like winning, what you wanted and doing it the American way. Because that's what people wanted. They needed to be reassured that things were okay in America. And so eventually things became kind of stale, and towards the end of that decline, which lasted, I believe, like 15 or 20 years, there was a group of kids that went to college that ended up becoming what are called the auteurs, which is French for authors. And the auteurs were George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, Tim Burton, just a bunch of directors that kind of came out at the end of that, where they were like, hey, I'm tired of watching all these films that are all the same. Like, why don't we try something new?
Yeah, enough of the spaghetti westerns.
Yeah, exactly. And so they went to school, they learned the rules, and then when they came out of school and started directing on the movies, they broke the rules. And they became what we know today as some of the best directors ever. And I think that we're in that again, because now their normal is is now what we're seeing as the constant. You know, people who broke the rules, now we're seeing them broken over and over and over the same way.
Right.
And it really is. It's a lack of originality, and so.
I mean, you see it everywhere. It's
Yeah.
like the only studios that are coming out with new content are the Pixar or, you know, Marvel kind of studios. But how many of these reruns or these I guess, live action remakes or sequels are we going to see here?
Yeah.
And I couldn't help but think during Gemini Man that this is just a dull plot, and I
was-
wasn't surprised by it.
the
It felt
Bourne
super
movies, yeah,
predictable.
that's what it was. It was.
Yeah, and it was like maybe if I had gone into this movie and literally known nothing about it, if
Right.
I hadn't watched the trailer and just literally somebody like I was at somebody's house and they're like, "Hey, this is a weird movie you've never heard of, try it." Then maybe I would have been a bit more surprised. But you get everything you need to get from this movie from
The trailer.
the 2-minute trailer
Yeah.
on YouTube. I mean, the second you see a young Will Smith and that shock value's gone, that's
Yeah,
it.
no, and absolutely,
because the
I
rest of the
100%
movie
agree.
it fell flat. It fell flat to me.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that Will Smith has this uncanny ability of taking shitty movies and making them decent. Hancock. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Hancock is one of those movies where
Yeah.
it was okay. It was interesting enough to like, okay, I'm gonna sit here and watch this. I guess this is what I'm doing for the next hour and a half, 2 hours. And his acting elevated the film. But if the best thing of your movie is the one actor, it's not a good movie. You know, like it's just not. I don't know. I just again, it's just Will Smith is such an incredible actor, and some of the delivery, some of the films that he has been in are so good, like so good.
Oh man, his range is unbelievable.
And
I mean, you know going into this that he can play a wide range of roles. He can be the goofy character in The Fresh Prince. He can be a phenomenal comedian or a spy or not spy, sorry, secret agent. You know,
Pigeon.
Men in Black. He can be, even the pigeon. He can be a phenomenal father, The Pursuit of Happiness.
Yes.
I mean, dude, there are some
That's a
crazy
great
movies,
movie.
but I think we learned that he's not the right guy to play the like haunted spy
Yeah.
type. Leave
So-
that to the other actors that have shown they can do it, I suppose.
What let's talk about what did work for the movie. Like let's try to put in a
Okay.
little bit of positivity for it, because it's not the worst movie I've ever seen.
No,
And
no.
this is the part where I
It's
insert
not.
the clip of like Mark, I can't remember what his name is, from The Room. I didn't do it. Well, hi Mark. You know what I'm talking about? Disaster
Yeah, I
Artist.
would. Yep, the
Um,
Disaster Artist, the like renowned movie for how bad it
Yeah,
was.
I've actually
I
seen
mean,
the
what
original
worked-
movie, and it's fucking awful.
Yeah.
It's such a bad movie.
What worked for this movie? I mean, Will Smith,
Mm-hmm.
I suppose. I mean, Will Smith's carrying this thing as much as he could. He's still Will Smith, but I don't know. I'm having a hard time even thinking of the answer to that question. What do you think? What worked for this movie?
There were some of the chase scenes on the motorcycle, like the parkour was awesome. When like Will Smith is doing some of that parkour, I thought that shit was dope. It was really cool.
You
seeing
didn't
him
think
just, like,
when he was. You didn't think when he was trying to kill him with the motorcycle, that whole scene
Oh, that was
like
way too much. Yeah,
much.
where he was like spinning around and trying to hit him with the wheel and stuff.
Yeah.
That's actually where I first wrote down. I was like, too CGI heavy, I think is what I wrote in the notes. I was just like, really? Like, okay. But no, I think the chasing, there's this one chase scene where it's literally one shot and he's just turning out of an alley, and it's the camera continues following him as they're like, it's just, some of the camera work was really good. Whoever was the director of photography did a phenomenal job with some of the action sequences. And then I'm not going to say that there weren't some parts that reached a more emotional depth, because when young Will Smith Jr. approaches, what the hell was his name? See, I don't even care.
The bad guy?
Yeah, I can't even. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Varen, whatever. I'm just literally just the first name that I could think of.
Scott?
Yeah, Scott.
Was it
Bill?
was it Scott?
Bill, is that you?
Yeah.
When you know, like he's hugging him and you just see his face, like Will Smith just goes to such emotional levels that you can't help but resonate a little with like the character, and I felt bad for Junior. But yeah, like it was just too much of that like cold, faceless assassin. The exchange between him and his older version when they're in the car, and he's like, you know, what am I going to be, a lawyer, a doctor? And he was like, you could be a father, you could be a husband. Like,
I agree. That was emotionally, that was well done.
Yeah.
And that's Will Smith.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
Will Smith
exactly.
putting this thing on his back and saying, listen, I've been doing this a long time. You know, if you're going to
Now-
put me in this movie, at least give me some scenes.
what do you think of God? And I feel terrible that I don't know the actor's name, but Wong from the Avengers movies
Oh, yeah.
is just
I
in
think
this all of a sudden.
I think he did kind of come out of nowhere, but I gotta say, as a supporting actor, I think he was really good. I really like him, and I liked him in Doctor Strange. I liked him in, I feel like I saw him in something else recently. Now I'm gonna have to look it up after this, but I thought he was good. I thought he's a good actor. He's convincing. I thought he was who he played.
His character felt a little unnecessary, other than I have a plane. You know, like, I can get you a plane. The only
Right.
lines he delivered really were like comic relief, which makes sense because he did a damn good job with that shit in Avengers and in the Doctor Strange movies. He was really good in those. But I don't think I could buy him as being an ex-Marine.
No.
You know, I was just
No.
like, okay, like, sure, like, now you're a bush pilot, and you know, you moved
Right.
to where was it? Colombia? Is that where the?
I think so.
Yeah, so, I don't
well,
know.
and again, it's that overdrawn out of I'm gonna like you said, I'm gonna tell you instead of showing you. I'm gonna tell you that I'm this ex-famous killer, spy, soldier.
Didn't see him pick up
but I'm not really
a
gonna.
gun once the entire movie.
Right, but I'm not really gonna show you. And this is gonna be this guy that I have all these stories with and like all these war stories with. But yeah, I agree. As that character, as an ex-Marine, not super convincing. But I do like him as an actor a lot. I do.
Yeah, and I feel like
so
I
as
hope
far
to
as
see him
things-
in more in the future.
We will. We definitely will. I think he's very big right now. I think we will see him in more. So as far as things that work for this movie, I agree with you. I thought the emotional connection of Will Smith and his son was actually pretty good. And really, that's kind of weird because you're essentially saying the chemistry between Will Smith and himself was very
Which
good.
It's got to be weird from an acting point of view. Like, okay, now I'm over here. Now I'm over here.
You almost wonder with Will Smith. I mean, how Will Smith took a pretty long hiatus from acting. He took a pretty long break. This is the first thing we've seen him in a long time. What else has he been in?
I know he did Men in Black.
He did Suicide Squad.
He did do
That was a
that.
while ago. It's been a while, man. I wonder if he's at a point in his career where he's only doing movies that feel like that he feels like are either going to challenge him or interest him, because it can't be about the money. The guy's probably
absolutely
making
not.
enough money off of YouTube nowadays
Yeah.
to just sit back and live off of that. I
Yeah.
mean, so it's not like a financial thing.
Absolutely.
He's a
he
mega
gets so
millionaire
many
star.
views just for being Will Smith on YouTube.
Right. Right. And so I wonder if he kind of chose this movie because he thought it would be an interesting challenge to play himself as a younger version of himself, but not just get to be the Fresh Prince again, but to have to be this character,
Or
to be this character in the movie as a younger version of
maybe
himself.
he could have been a fan of Ang Lee for all we know, and trusted Ang Lee.
Maybe.
Because I mean, dude, like he not Life of Pi, but he also did Hidden Dragon, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Oh yeah.
Like iconic action
Yeah.
movies. Like this guy is very well known, and so I don't know.
It's true. Maybe it was just that connection, that network. They
Yeah.
knew each other. He was willing to do the movie because it just plot wise, again,
just wasn't there,
when you see Will Smith, young Will Smith in the trailer, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all the excitement you're going to get in that movie for the most part. The rest of it you've seen before.
Yes.
But what else you got for this one? Anything?
Honestly, no. I think I've pretty much said it. It was just you're right. It was dull. It was an action movie. It was an action movie about clones and a spy that is not Jason Bourne. That's
Yeah,
I
agreed.
saw
They
that,
broke the mold. What's up?
I just remember writing in the notes. I just remember saying that like towards the end, it just started to feel like a shitty video game. Like it was complete
With
with
like the CGI fighting and
just
stuff.
that, and like, it had the complete like the terrible boss fight at the end with like this flaming.
Yeah, here comes the
armored-
boss that you can't kill, and he just
Yeah.
runs, and then all of a sudden he's dead. Like, thank you for bringing in the second, or I guess technically the third Will Smith, just for him to
Yeah.
run really fast
Like a
and then get
16-year-old
killed.
version of him.
Like, that was super fucking dumb.
Yeah,
like,
I was just like, oh, God.
that was. Yeah, and I think they were forced to do that because the bad guy, the villain in this, was so unconvincing, because you almost didn't even know if he was a bad guy or not. You know what I mean? It's like he's like he cared for this guy and raised him up, and he doesn't even really seem that evil. Like young Will Smith doesn't even seem that haunted. He's being forced to do something that he doesn't necessarily want to do by his parents. But there's plenty of kids that are lawyers also, and doctors right now that don't want to be that.
If you're literally getting up to the point where you're physically trying to run over somebody with the back of your motorcycle, and then you go back to your boss and say, "I didn't get a good look at him." Like I was like, "Really? You didn't get a good look at him? Were you looking?"
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
you couldn't see that he looked like you.
That's not me, man. Yeah. That's not me. It was hard because Will Smith is so phenomenal, so much range. Will always be a legend. He's an incredible actor.
There was this cool moment where you see him. I can't remember what the gun is called, but like the gun turned sideways, and
that was cool.
That's a real gun. Like,
yeah,
that's a real thing. I remember seeing that.
The bendy gun.
Yeah, I remember seeing that when I was
the bendy straw gun.
16, 17. I saw it on,
yeah, but even that, like you said, like that's not new.
Yeah,
that's not new either. Like we all know about the bendy gun by now, man. It was like really cool when it came out, and now we all know about it.
Show me the like the Arbiter sword. You know, I want to see that.
Right, I want the loop-de-loop gun, like in Wanted or something. Pull something else. The bendy's not gonna do it. Well, give us the Bop It gun. But okay, so Gemini Man got a
terrible ratings.
26% on Rotten Tomatoes for the critic score.
I feel that's a little
bit more redeeming. Yeah, 83% audience score, though, so that's a little bit redeeming. That's a pretty big gap, 26% to 83%. Obviously, those two fan bases or audiences are looking for different things. So
I think that just shows you where what kind of entertainment audiences are looking for. And probably the what's it called? The type of person that's going. What is the word I'm looking for? From like a research.
Like the demographic.
The demographic. That's the word. Today's episode brought to you by demographic. The more you know. I'm actually gonna put a rainbow right there.
Edit it in, dude. Do it.
But yeah, like this movie was totally geared towards males. I can't imagine any, very many women who are like, yeah, let's go see Gemini Man. Like, it just, doesn't seem like that type of film.
So sexist. It's unbelievable, man.
But I don't know. It is a huge gap. And I'm
yeah.
I'm gonna.
So what'd you think? So obviously 26% is pretty low, but I don't know. I mean, what did you think of it?
I'm somewhere between. I feel so bad. I'm somewhere between like a 5 and a 6, and I feel like I'm being generous. Just because it
feels wrong to be rating a Will Smith movie that low. It feels really wrong.
That's really all it is. So I'm gonna give it a 5.5. I'm gonna give it a 55%. It just didn't do it for me. It was enough for me to not turn the movie off, but that could also be that because I knew we were going to be recording. So not all quite there for me.
Okay, so what are you giving it? 5.5?
Yeah.
5.5. All right, fair enough.
I'm gonna say so
5.5. Yeah, man, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I feel like a big reason why we even started this podcast is because we have opinions that are just not really with what's out there. And I'm sorry, it feels wrong giving a Will Smith movie this low of a review. But I'm going to not try to hedge my bet that Will Smith will ever be on this podcast. And I'm going to say I didn't like it. I thought it was dull. I thought the CGI was hit or miss. Will Smith is a phenomenal actor, but he missed the mark on. Well, I don't know if he missed the mark, but this movie missed the mark to me. He should have had the dog from I Am Legend or something. Bring something in. This one to me gets a 4. It gets a 4 from me, and that's the lowest score we've seen on this podcast yet, I think.
And this is the part where I turn you black and white, and I like zoom in slowly with sad music. Yeah,
I want you to edit like flames behind me, like I'm just basically like in hell. I give it a 4. Yeah, that's what it gets though, man. I thought it was boring. I thought it was boring. I thought in almost every way it was unconvincing, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
But that's it for me. I'm giving it a 4, and I'm locking it in.
Boom.
So that's it. Critic and the Common Man review of Gemini Man. Again, you can find this one and all the movies we're talking about today on Amazon Video. So that was a 5 and a 4 from us. Comment down below what you think, or if you're just listening to this one, I'd be interested to hear what you think. If you want to hop over to the YouTube channel, we have basically no viewers at this point, so we will respond to every comment, literally everyone,
Mom,
every single one.
For the love.
Yeah, yeah. So that's it, Gemini Man. But again, give credit to Will Smith where credit is due. But overall, the movie was a bit of a miss.